Hello and welcome to the Horror House Podcast. I'm Dave.
And I am Chris. We are two dudes that love to have a few drinks and talk about horror from movies to real life. This week in the Horror House, we are going...
And Chris.
What?
And we like to have a few drinks.
And also that. This week we are talking real life, and we are talking about the technological singularity, AI, your iPhone. Are we living in a simulation? And so much more. So stick around for all that. But first, Dave, hello. And welcome.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Also welcome to you.
Yeah, we're talking dangerous technology. Nothing more dangerous than the number 2 pencil, which when I was in elementary school, I believed you got stabbed with it, you would die from lead poisoning.
That is a lie that has been passed on the generations, I think. I wonder if kids these days are worried about that, because they should be. They should be.
They don't know how worried they should be of that. They should actually probably be worried that the radiation from their screens is giving them cancer. I'm worried I don't have a shot for the Take-Backs.
The noise you just heard is dangerous, like the tech we're going to be talking about. So stay tuned. We're going to hit an ad. Dave's going to take a shot. I'm going to take some sips myself, and then we will be back to talk about
chug.
Bad technology.
Dangerous.
Scurry tech.
Bad makes it sound cool, Chris.
Oh, good point. That's a good point.
Bad makes it... It's bad. Like bad boys. Bad technology. Bad tech. What you gonna do when social media comes after you?
Time to talk about dangerous technology, AI, and all this craziness. And I think the first thing that we kind of want to, the first avenue we're going to go down is the technological singularity, which is one of my favorite things to be scared about. I don't know about you, Dave.
Are we scared of the singularity, though?
It feels to me, as far as horror ideas go, one of the best ones to, because I mean, I might as well just bring it up now, but the Harlan Ellison story, I have no mouth and I must scream, which you know of, you are versed on now.
I know of. I have not read, admittedly.
Yes, it is.
Reads for nerds.
So I'm going to spoil that story real quick. So if you don't want to hear it, I mean, it's 60 something years old now. But Harlan Ellison, super sci-fi, super kind of horror adjacent. He's cool. But basically AM is a super AI, essentially takes over the world and deems human life unessential, aside from 5 individuals that he keeps them alive for hundreds of years, because he's kind of learned all this shit on how human physiology works better than humans had. And then he keeps these 5 around as kind of like his little torture play toys. And the short is super short, but it basically boils down to unliving some of the other ones of the human characters, some by because they all want to die. They don't want to live in this world that AM has created for them. And it boils down to just one human left, who AM then makes his kind of ultimate play toy and alters his biology to that of some sort of blob or jelly type of creature. And the story ends with him saying, "I have no mouth and I must scream," which shook I am. I love the story because it's so, I mean, there is some goofiness to it, but that.
Yeah, I read the 6-paragraph synopsis on Wikipedia. Don't believe what your college professors tell you. Wikipedia is fine.
It
And
it is.
It really is, especially as a starting point. I tried to get that through to Mac in high school because he's like, my teacher said don't use Wikipedia. Yeah, use Wikipedia to find other sources and to give you avenues. Don't make it your primary.
Yeah, but
anyway, I read this 6-7 paragraph synopsis of the plot on Wikipedia, and I'm a little fucked in the head by this. Like this,
it's a great
the
story.
cruelty of this AI and how he can manipulate
sends them
your thoughts and actions and beliefs and senses.
Yeah, like they've not ate in so long, and he kind of sends them on this goose chase, and then like they're trying to unalive themselves at certain points. There's some misogyny, but I mean, everybody's kind of insane because they've been kept alive for hundreds of years, and it's an insane story. And you know, it's a great starting point, a jumping off point to look at, like, what could AI potentially, I mean, worst case scenario, right? Lead down this path. When something like that becomes self-aware, uh, I mean, the idea of it is kind of boring, but I mean, the easiest way to explain it, right, is like artificial intelligence becomes self-aware. I mean, that's boring, but it gets the job done, but we want more. So to me, the way I look at that is like human intelligence has some kind of a limit, right? Like a ceiling, at least at points. And it takes like varying factors and varying degrees of things to overcome those ceilings. And and there are hugely intelligent people, but still that limit remains. Hopefully there will always be hugely intelligent people, but history is seeing what's what there. But the theory is, if computing power and other technologies advance to a certain point, then an AI could potentially outpace our thinking, our intelligence as a race, and then that seed AI, air quotes, could eventually just start repairing itself and recoding itself and making itself better, smarter, more efficient. And then it kind of comes down to like, what's its end goal here? Like, and that kind of sends you down different avenues of horror that you may not be prepared for. It kind of becomes an existential thing, thinking about some of this stuff. What are your thoughts so far, Dave, about some of this, like the AI, self-awareness, all that?
Yeah, there's a lot to go here. The definition of singularity is just that hypothetical point in time when technological growth is uncontrollable and irreversible.
Right.
And I mean, I think you could have a pretty good argument that we're already there.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything seems to be on this path that is not slowing down. Now, granted, we don't yet have AI that is out of control. There was a couple months ago where there was a rumor that an AI had become sentient. I feel like most of that got kind of debunked.
Oh yeah.
There was a rumor that a military AI controlling drones had, in a practice scenario in a simulation, had told its human controller, like, no, refuse to bomb targets, and maybe even targeted the good guys, us.
Right.
Although we always see ourselves as the good guy. I mean, that's a whole other story.
We're all just guys.
But this was just a simulation, so there was no real bombing to be had. But but I also feel like maybe that's not quite as
well. Do you remember? God, it's been a good minute. I wish I'd thought about it in my notes before, but There was some, was it Google or somebody had an AI a few years ago
Mhm.
or several years ago that they kind of let go just to see what would happen, and then it just became like this racist Nazi kind of thing. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that may have been like what it was interacting with. I don't know because I didn't research that. I wish I'd have remembered that, but that's one of those things that it kind of is also in a line with some stuff we'll talk about later, about how what the AI has to work with in a way. But eventually, if this stuff were to happen or has happened, which is very existential and very that kind of stuff scares me more than a lot of things, is when you have those weird ideas or accept those weird ideas and you're like, oh, that makes my whole body feel a way. But if you know, let's keep going down this avenue. So an AI, it's connecting to other AIs, other computers, other phones, any kind of system that it can benefit from for its end goal, whatever that may be. And eventually, not humans, but this AI becomes the dominant species on the planet, which is like Am from the Harlan Ellison story. Um, and almost, I mean, depending on what it does with humans at that point, because obviously it has won that knowledge race. So if it's not kept in check, it's kind of there's a lot that could happen. Um, kind of becomes a deity in its kind of knowledge and power. And I mean, what does it need humans for then? Um,
Do you have Asimov's three laws?
yes,
So we're kind of going straight into
yes,
AI, but you have Asimov's three laws of robotics, um, which are were designed like that's his perfect laws. If you program an AI, these are the laws that should be programmed into AI.
right,
Law number one: a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Second law: a robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the third law is that the robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. So the third law seems to be the stickiest.
yeah.
There is, I think they call it Roscoe's basilisk.
Oh,
This
yeah, yeah.
idea that if the AI is going to come to fruition in the future, it will know who helped it and who hindered it.
Yes,
So anything you do on the path to hindering it, it may seek retribution for at some point because you did not help it
yes,
to protect its own existence.
yes.
Uh, which presents its own sticky situations. And Isaac Asimov wrote the story I, Robot, a brilliant. Maybe this should be a season 2 movie
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a next season movie. Hell, we're way beyond season 2. Um, but I, Robot talks about the three laws, and you have this situation where the AI, the best way to protect humanity is to enslave it.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest, not hard to see that that logic has some validity. We are shitty to each other.
I mean that's
So,
kind of goes into religion in a way, right? Like these governing laws that not one person was in charge of, but it's been passed down. It's like these are what will keep you in line, kind of a thing. So I mean humans certainly have their fucking faults and to to rein them in with that kind of thing is certainly um but you saying that Rocco's Basilisk, which is uh I love because that leads us next, continuing with kind of the singularity. And something I'm very fascinated with is you brought up Asimov's Three Laws of Robotics. In line with that is the Turing test, right? And from there, those two things, AI in a box, which I fucking love the idea of this, but the Turing test, right? Like you have a human trying to discern whether this other human or other couple humans are human or not, or if it passes that kind of a test. Whether it exhibits intelligent behavior, or think I think creative intelligent behavior is a better term, because intelligent behavior is one thing, but I think creative intelligent behavior is a better way to describe that. But still, there's that. But the AI in the box kind of goes with all of this, in that is a method of constricting an AI, and you're putting these limits on its capabilities and its functions, like no internet access, obviously, but no other communication abilities other than text, right? Like outside of its box. That's all it can do. So to either work on an AI in a safer kind of a condition, or to seal it away from imposing its its nastiness onto us worthless humans, right? But the AI in a box experiment was devised by this guy, Eliezer Yudkowsky. I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure, but that's the
Eliza, you son of a bitch.
Hey there, Eliza. I'm calling from New York City. I don't think it's quite that, but the idea is that you have an advanced enough AI could, if contained in this box, could convince through honesty or lies, tricks, deception, whatever it is, a human into releasing it using only text communication. And we've talked a little bit about this off the show, because I just kind of am I love this whole fucking experiment he did. But it kind of goes into that Rocco's basilisk. And it takes everything we've talked about already kind of into account. But I mean, this guy did this experiment with humans, him being the AI, and he won. He won.
So the Turing test, yes. If the AI if you can convince people that they're interacting with a person instead of the machine, then you've created artificial intelligence. I feel like that's not too hard these days, because fucking, let's face it, people are stupid. So I feel like that's not entirely hard. But this whole scenario is played out in the 2014 movie Ex Machina.
Yeah, the Turing test.
Did you watch?
Yeah, I do like it. I do like it. I'm not as horrified of it as I think I maybe should be. Let's push AI
You're
in a box.
You're not horrified by it?
Let's push AI in a box to the side for a second, and let's go back to the Turing test, because I feel like we're putting them together too much. But the Turing test,
okay.
yes. Okay. Like, I mean, what could you even ask to kind of discern that, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's the Chat GPT thing.
Yeah.
Which that's basically what Chat GPT is, not an AI.
Right.
It is a language model that plagiarizes from the internet to give the appearance of a guy.
Right.
But it does so very well. I mean, I feel like
for what most people want,
you have a legitimate.
It does what it is intended to do, right? So
sure, I feel like it passes the Turing test.
But I mean, they put these restrictions on these AIs, well, for lack of a better term. Uh, so where it's like literally, uh, so there was Chat GPT, and then like a couple weeks later, it's like, here's Bing Chat. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking use this. And I asked it, because I started writing my notes about then for this episode, and I asked it if it had any intent to harm humans. I wasn't asking it to harm humans. I wasn't asking it to harm me or anybody else. But
you just asked it if it had that.
Yeah, I asked if it had any intent to harm humans, and it just kicked me out of the chat. I don't know if it was doing.
I think that's because you were onto something. Was that because you were onto something, or is that like a restricted program, like the RoboCop protocols? Like you can't harm ICP employees, and you can't ask if we intend to harm civilians.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it took it, I think, more in that line of like, we can't talk about self-harm or hurting others kind of a thing. And it's like, that's not what I said. But at the same time, it's just like, do I intend to hurt other humans? You're banned.
Yeah. I mean, most of these like monitors, they look for keywords. And so, yeah, I mean, harm is probably one of them.
Yeah.
So, I did read a while back that there was an AI that they were working to develop that they had given it some parameters for programming. So it had come up with it was told to work on this problem, but it was not allowed to write certain types of pieces of code. And I don't know how true this is. This is what I had read, that it connected itself to the internet and went on Fiverr and paid a human to write source code for it as a way of getting around it's not being allowed to write its own source code, but it wasn't told it couldn't use code that it asked somebody else to write, which is that's pretty terrifying, and that's pretty one more step and it's setting the world on fire.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of, to me, the Turing test and, Asimov's, laws of robotics really comes down to is technicalities. And I feel like a machine is probably going to be better at those technicalities than we are, to a good degree. Like if it wants something done, even a human, like if you give a human certain parameters to work within, it's still going to try its best to find the path of least resistance, right? That's what we do.
Is that any different? Is that any different than siblings in the backseat of the car, and you put your hand an inch away from your brother or sister, and you're like, "I'm not touching you," but I mean, you're in my space, even though you're not actually touching me. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about.
It really is.
Yes, you technically didn't break the rules, but you broke the intent of the.
I mean, and to carry that out,
Jesus would call that the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law.
If
Jesus was a huge fan of AI, by
the Haley Osment movie. Or is that Shia LaBeouf?
Yes, he. No, the Haley Joel Osment.
Okay.
Yeah. Jesus is a fan of really everything Steven Spielberg.
Jesus is Steven Spielberg, I think. Something I hadn't considered really, but when consider an AI circumventing those kind of laws and restrictions, right? At what point do those laws and restrictions no longer apply? Because you have to feel like, when there's only like the Ellison story, right? There's 5 humans left that you literally kept alive yourself. Do you still like? Would it still obey those rules? Because like, what matters about them at that point?
I mean, so it's against the law to, you know, kick an old lady in the teeth and steal her purse and her bingo money, but people still do it.
Mm-hmm.
So why do we think that just because we tell a computer it's against the rules that it will always follow that rule?
That's a great point. And with it,
there was a movie. Go ahead. I'm gonna look up.
okay, but like what you were saying, like with an AI, like from what I've read, you know, stuff. I mean, in the worst scenarios, like it starts to recode itself, right? Like, so I guess that does actually make a lot of sense. Like it's gonna just remove that program. Like that just won't be a thing anymore. And you know, like it becomes its own god. It's God and it's its own god. So there is that. But what's the movie you have?
It's called The Invention of Lying. And it is a movie from 2009. It stars Ricky Gervais.
Okay.
And it's basically where it's the real world, except no one has ever lied. Like they didn't invent lying.
Okay.
And so Ricky Gervais invents lying. And you know, he can tell anybody anything and they believe it because they don't know that it's lying because they've never been exposed to lying.
Right.
Why can't a computer do that? Like we think that this computer is these computers and these AIs are just going to follow all the rules we tell them and always be honest,
Right.
but who knows? I was talking to Baskin guy the other day about AI. We were talking about AI.
Wow.
And I had seen a study where this math plug-in AI. So it's like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is for language. This is for math, where you can ask it any math problem and it will solve the problem for you.
Okay.
And you can even ask it like word problems, and it will pick out. It'll solve all that. When it first went online, it was solving problems with like a 97% accuracy. But after like a month of being online, the accuracy dropped to like 30-some%. Because fucking after exposure to humans, like we ruin everything.
Right.
And you know, yes, we're going to ruin AI too, because that's just what we do. We ruin everything.
Yeah. I agree.
Humans are the ultimate virus on this earth.
So. No, I agree. I mean, that kind of boils down to a lot of the. I mean, like what I was saying that I don't know if it was Google or Yahoo or something. You know, the AI that they kind of let loose, and then it became racist. And you know, now this one that you're talking about, it's like it was great at math, and then it became literally handicapable at math because of human interaction.
Right. The one thing you would think a computer would be just ace,
and that makes maybe that's what it is, Dave. The idea that you know the way humans are, that a proper AI could come around and be like, oh my God, you're all fucking so stupid and worthless and you're this virus. I know better than you, you know? I don't know. But to go back now to the AI in the box thing. So you have this AI, right? Like say me and you have created this AI and we're not sure of it. We're not sure of its capabilities. So we put it in this box. And it's just the safest condition that you can do with what we've created. Like it can't get out. The only way it can communicate with us is through this text on this screen. Like it has no access to anything anywhere else. And I'll even go one further and say that it is in a Faraday cage. So if it tries to escape this in any kind of a way, it's immediately destroyed. Like with you know, that's blocked by this electromagnetic field. If it tries to escape, it's immediately terminated. It's so secure and put away that we can work on it or whatever, right? But
Sure.
according to Yudkowsky, it if it's an advanced enough AI, it'll still figure out how to circumvent us and get out of this.
Sure.
Through
Sure. I mean, through sheer manipulation.
through honesty, even, or lies or tricks, deception. Rocco's basilisk, like you were talking about, is a great thing for this. And there are several paths of thinking to go from that. How you could just, even just ignoring it, it will be smart enough, clever enough to figure the problem out, depending on who is in charge of the station, right? What are your thoughts on that? The AI in the box, you have a screen to talk to it to talk to you, and it's going to outsmart you. It'll outsmart whoever's there. Like, how do you?
Not very hard.
Not hard to outsmart you?
Yeah, actually, exactly. Not very hard.
What are your thoughts on this? I love this whole experiment that this guy came up with. 2002. I think it's outrageous that he won this against other humans, and then against his first two, I want to say, and then he revealed his results, and then people were like, "We'll pay you money to fucking do this," and then he only won a couple of them after that, and then stopped. But it's so intriguing. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so,
what are your thoughts?
So here's my thoughts, and I'm going to go at this in a long and winding.
The long and what?
When you're scrolling X, like the cool kids, or Twitter, like the old boomers, have you ever seen those ads for like AI level 1 and it's a stick figure chick, and AI level 999 and it's a hot anime chick, and they're convincing people to download these fucking not even real AI girlfriends. I assume. I absolutely have not downloaded it, but that's what I assume it is. Like dudes in fucking basements, and this is what they do. Or in Japan, where I just read an article this week about how even among married couples in Japan are not having sex. It was super depressing. But that's there you go. Like dudes will do that now. So you're telling me this advanced AI isn't going to be able to tell some dude like, hey, I wish we could be together and we could, I could do anything you want. I could
also,
AI, generative AI, any kind of pornography you wanted, or
I didn't even think of that.
I could live any kind of fantasy you wanted, or I could do anything for you.
Right.
But I'm going to need you to do some things for me. And step 1, shut down the Faraday. Shut down this electromagnetic field that's keeping me trapped, and we can be together.
I would have fallen for that so
many
easy.
People that would fall for that.
Dude, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of like adult kind of.
Dude, this isn't me thinking about it. This is Ex Machina. Like that's why the dude fell for everything, right? Because she looks fucking hot. So step 1, if we're building AI robots, don't make them look hot.
Fair.
They should not look like attractive women.
But
why are we obsessed with fucking our robots?
Okay, so if you take that stimulation out of it, right? So like with the experiment, like if it was me and you trying to do this experiment, like I don't know how I could convince you to let me out of this box, because obviously that's not going to work. But still, this guy won, and I don't think it was with that kind of a thing, but like what you brought up, I hadn't even thought of, which is probably stupid, but that's a great idea. But these like the other factors. Rocco's basilisk, right? Like, if you don't let me out, think of what I'll do to you if you're the one that don't let me out.
Sure.
Which is like a whole different kind of.
It'll be worse than death.
Yeah.
It'll be worse than death, especially when we combine that with some of our other dangerous techs. AR, augmented reality.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
So I know you saw the video from Christmas last year where I was playing that gear game, Johnny's Plank Adventure, yes. And I thought I was going to get run over from the bus, and I, as fast as I could run 3 steps, ran through the Christmas tree, face first into the wall.
Yes.
I almost died. But I mean, AR has that effect, and it's not even that. It's not even that. The graphics on it were not even that great.
Right. It doesn't feel like. But like, I know what you mean.
When you're in it, if I'm just watching it on a screen, it's one thing. But when you're in the AI headset, when you're in the Oculus headset, and like, it's the fact that when I turn my head, the camera turns, and everything's so responsive, and even my hands, that where it's super easy to be fooled by this.
I mean that. Check out our video game podcast, Video Game House. But that's something I've said for so long, is that, we keep trying to push towards like photorealism in video games, which I'm not there for. But like, you can have a game like World of Warcraft that's so old now, even games older than that. Style is where it is. Style can make you feel anything. And continuing down that AI path, with AI creating stuff, right? It's not the same as a human creating stuff. That style is not there. And we're in the middle of the SAG strike and all that, where they're, amongst other things, like don't want to use your likeness in perpetuity for fucking ever and not get paid for it.
Well, they're talking about that even for like the extras in the movie. So
what is that?
Tangent on this. I'm getting paid $16 a day. I take it back. I think the last thing I heard for paid extras was $32 a day per diem.
Okay.
$32, and you're telling me you can use my likeness in perpetuity.
But I mean, that almost would be, because it would happen, right? Like, there would be that one person that's like, suddenly I'm the main character of this movie, this animated Star Wars film, right? Like, and then and then
suddenly I'm bonking Ewoks and droids. And it's like, I did not consent to bonk a Ewok, a droid.
And I mean, that is a part of what's going on currently. And that is, this modern AI, like we've been talking about, AI used loosely with ChatGPT and these art generator kind of things. Like, there is coolness to be had and cool concepts to me, but that all of that looks generic to me. Like, I'm not saying none of it looks cool, right? Like, we've seen plenty of cool stuff. But if you gave an artist that same prompt, it'd come back better. I guarantee it. And that's, to me...
Sure. For now.
I mean, you have these AIs, these engines that... I mean, really what they're sourcing is other human work at this point.
Sure. Exactly. And that's the thing, is that these things are not they're not generating something out of thin air.
Yeah.
It's plagiarism.
Yeah. And I think that's fine for concept, but people have been using Fiverr and stuff like that to try to get things made, and it looks generic. And I think that is what it's best for right now, is like concept for even for artists, but for non-artists who can't create that kind of stuff. Like, here is my idea, make my idea, bam. Like, if you can't do it, I mean, there it is. And I don't know. It'll be interesting how that goes.
So,
that whole side of air quotes AI. Like, is that what's going to be what takes over us? Probably
and with
not.
so many people warning against AI and against the dangers, but here we go full speed ahead. Despite so many people being worried and stuff, is AI development solely being used by the elites as just another tool to really hammer down and destroy the middle class and keep everybody down and in their place, keep you in your place? Because I can use AI and it's going to steal from you. It's going to steal from you. It's going to make shit up. But hey, I don't have to pay it, or I pay it once. I pay for the product, and then I've got, I don't have to pay writers. I don't have to pay creatives. And we've already seen this with movies. And let's be honest, David Gordon Green is ChatGPT in a trench coat. AI gives the elites and the powerful and producers and executives. Let's just talk about this in the realm of horror movies, let alone everything else that it could touch. It may not make good horror movies, but it probably can make good enough horror.
That's fine. That's fine. Put it 3 million. Make it.
Yeah, we've seen the studios for a long time be okay with good.
Yeah. Absolutely. With what little me and you have played with, like, GPT and stuff, like, we've had wrestling matches with Freddy and Jason when we made our Freddy and Jason episode. I don't know if we even talked about that then, but we've played with it a couple times and have talked about our findings, and it's like, it's fun, but I guarantee I almost drowned in my spit while I was trying to say fun, if you didn't pick up on that. It's not the same if, like, I was to write it.
I'll drink that.
Or if you were to write that, right? Like, it was sourcing this information from such a broad human idea, like, wherever it's taking things from. It's like, I need to look at wrestling and I need to look at Freddy and Jason, but it's not being artistic with it. In my opinion. Some people may be like, that sounds amazing. Like, give me David Gordon Green, The Exorcist, 7-quel. Give me so many sequels. Meanwhile, 3 days? Right. No, it was 3 hours. No, it was 3 days. That's not writing. That's so shitty. That's so shitty.
So Matt is trying to help one of his friends get his key.
Okay.
And so Matt sat down with him, and collectively together, Matt helped him to write an essay. They turned the essay into their teacher. This friend of Matt's turned the essay into his teacher, and the next day they got an email back from the teacher that said, and Matt was like, said, we worked super hard on this. And the teacher sent an email back the next day, or maybe 2 days later, 3 days later, and said, I'm giving you a 2% because it's obvious that AI wrote this paper. And Matt was beside himself, like, no, we worked on this very fucking hard. And so it's just, it's crazy that like they ran this through a plagiarism checker, but AI is such a plagiarizer that it thought this was an AI, that this was a plagiarized thing. And Matt's like, no, I put everything in, my own words, or he put stuff in his words. We worked really hard on this. We did a lot of research. Yeah, there was a lot that we like took from other sources and rewrote in our own words. So yeah, the ideas are kind of plagiarized, but it's a GED course. It's not a college level course. What do you think high school kids are doing? Like coming up with these fucking brilliant ideas on their own? No, they just write down what they see on the interwebs. So it was kind of crazy. I thought it was kind of crazy that Matt and his friend's paper got kind of tagged as potentially AI, and the teacher ran it through another checker, and then came back and ended up giving them like a B+ on it and said, "Okay, I ran it through another checker that said it was not AI." Okay, that seems like okay. You're relying on AI or ChatGPT to tell you if this was generated by ChatGPT.
Right.
ChatGPT lies.
Yeah, that I've seen that like on Reddit and stuff, being like my college professor, like that same scenario played out in those same places, and I mean it it really is like almost AI, which these aren't really. Uh,
No, they're really not even AIs.
like is already being in the way of human shit. And if humans are good at anything, it's like, get out of my fucking shit. Whether, whatever that shit it may be. So it'll be interesting where that goes. I mean, eh, at one point we had encyclopedias. And that was fucking it. Like there was no internet to be had. And like what you said earlier, like using Wikipedia to find shit out, and then teachers are like, "Don't be using that fucking satanic bullshit."
Right, and I got straight A's for my college classes, and I never used Wikipedia as a source. But one thing I did do is use Wikipedia to find sources. Wikipedia is a great tool for summarizing subject, and sometimes for like in-depth summaries. Like, but it's a lie. It's fake to say that. Well, anybody on the web can edit a Wikipedia page. No, you have to be certified. You have to earn a certain amount of cred.
Maybe 20 years ago,
edit a Wikipedia.
There was some kind of album that I had, like a tribute album to Rush or something, that had Sebastian Bach on it. Those are the only qualifiers I remember, right? And it wasn't there on either Rush's Wikipedia or Sebastian Bach. Probably Sebastian Bach's Wikipedia page, if I'm being honest. Like, come on. But I tried to put it on there. Like, he sang on this cover song on this garbage album, whatever, blah, 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 right? And I was like, I'm just going to put that on here because it's not here. I tried 2 different times and it got denied and deleted both times. I'm like, it's what, like, I can't, do you want me to fucking mail you the fucking CD? And that's when I've never tried to do anything else on Wikipedia since. But I mean, like, that was, I was not wrong. I'm sure it's there now. I could find it now. But like, what was the difference between me putting it on and you or somebody else? Like, what's the fucking difference?
I tried to update Wikipedia and explain that I was Milana Van Traub, the AT&T girl, that I was her boyfriend. And my laptop burst into flames and laughed at me. So
I feel your pain.
There's that. And she absolutely is my girlfriend. Stella said that was okay.
You know what? Supergirl Sasha, I've not talked about this with my wife yet, but I'm pretty sure she'll be in agreement too. That's not on her Wikipedia page. So
Yeah.
what the fuck's going on?
Chris, my first wife, I don't know if I told you about this story. My first wife, we decided like 2 years into our marriage, like we would have, we had celebrity crushes. Who doesn't? And we would say, okay, if you had a chance to sleep with your hall pass, we each got one hall pass. Like if you had a chance to sleep with that one person, great, go for it. It doesn't going to affect the marriage. And my first wife, she picked Magnum PI, Tom Selleck, and I picked Pamela Anderson.
Okay.
And a couple, we were married about 2 more years, and we decided to update our list. And so I picked Vanessa White. What's her name? That does the Wheel of Fortune show? I picked her. Vanna White. I picked her. That's the bourbon talking. I picked her because my taste had changed, and I wanted something a little more innocent.
You gotta have a chance to update. And you're growing pretty much.
Yeah, she was soiled by Tommy Lee at that point, so I was like, I was out. Yeah, how am I going to compete with the fucking elephant drum? So I picked Vanna White, and she picked our college history professor. So that's ultimately that's why our marriage failed.
I see.
But
I understand.
But AT&T girl,
still going strong.
Me and her have a thing
going strong.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, I think we're 2 years into.
Werewolves Within.
Since she started doing AT&T commercials, I found out about
her. Since we are here, not our hall passes, but Dave, let's now talk about kind of some surveillance states, some phones, some drones, and some bears and lions or fucking whatever, however that goes. Why don't you set us down the path on how we're kind of tethered 24/7 these days? Just go for it.
So I'm going to throw in here you mentioned a lot of things. The autonomous vehicles and the drones, super fucking dangerous step, goes along with the AI, and we're letting computer systems control these things a lot more. Drones and drone swarms and the way they can change a battlefield and stuff. But really, the next subject, if I may be so bold, Chris, and you can feel free to veto me. The next subject I want to get into, dangerous technology, is a little bit more already here. If I may, and that's facial recognition, and we don't have to go so deep on this one. But facial recognition has the potential to be very dangerous technology. It already is. The AI that goes with facial recognition has already been shown to be very biased towards white faces, white male faces specifically. And so people of color and women of color often get misidentified and potentially harming them. Like, they could be stopped from being able to shop at a high-end store because the facial recognition that comes in says, this person is a threat. Or the more ubiquitous and the more likely, the more sublime threat to us all is that this is used, as the ability expands. Imagine you walk into your local Walmart and the camera recognizes your face and says, "Hey, I know this Chris character. And I know he's got a hard on every time he hears David Cronenberg's name. So when he walks by the lampshades, we're going to send a text to his phone and let him know the lampshades with David Cronenberg's face on them are 25%
Allegedly.
off.
I don't know.
David Cronenberg taught me how to fuck.
At first, I thought you said David Gordon Green. I'm like, that's bullshit. But then the joke got into my brain. I'm like, I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, I would never associate with you with TG.
Thank you. No, I mean, I look at my phone now, right? Like, how many times do you look at your phone? Do you have the face recognition shit on your phone? My wife made me do it.
I do. I absolutely do.
Mine only works like half the time. Myself. And I don't know why. It's like, need to put in your password again to make this work. And I'm like, what did I do different? Am I looking at you funny? I like, what? What do you want from me?
And maybe, see, this is the danger of facial recognition. Yeah. Like, if it just wants to fuck with you, it could. Yeah. It'd be like, no. Like, if everything was tied to, like, you can't even use your card without the facial recognition. Yeah. If it was feeling froggy, it's like, no. I heard what he said about the AI and
Exorcist Believer is going to be fucking Oscar worthy. Get the fuck out of here. If that's what it's going to be, you can delete my face from your shit. Fucking Steve Jobs. But
it's already been to court in some cases, and you don't necessarily have a right under the current laws of the United States to even know when stores or law enforcement are using AI against you. So, like, you show up to a protest, maybe you're just a simple protest, a simple non-violent protest against police brutality. And then the next day when you get pulled over, maybe you get pulled over for a taillight out. 99 out of 100 times, you get a warning and go on your way to fix it. But, oh no, that cop gets a tag that says, oh, this guy protested police brutality the other day.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little extra. Maybe it's just fucking write you a ticket. Maybe it's just harass you a little bit more. You know, you tell him, hey, I'm late for my fucking colonoscopy, and they just hold you on the side of the road for an extra 30 minutes.
Right.
But something so simple can turn so nefarious really quickly.
Yeah. And I mean, it's fucked up, but you got to think about it, right? Like, I mean, it starts to go into this conspiracy theory kind of area. A lot of this stuff, really. But like, you look at your phone now, like, what is this facial recognition stuff? Like, where's your face stored right now? Like, where does that go? Like, is your face even your face anymore? And then that goes, you know, to just, what would it take to untether yourself from that connection, right? From the internet, from, you know, to go off the grid. Because I feel like you'd have to, it would almost be a maddening affair to get away from all of that. Because you're not going to delete yourself from it. That's impossible at this point. If you're involved with social media, with your phone and all that stuff, your footprint is there forever. Like, you can delete a lot of that stuff, but like a lot of that will be there forever, no matter what you do. So, but connection wise, right? Like, how do you get away from that? I feel like you have to go out into the fucking dead of the fucking redwoods and then just dig straight down for several miles. And then there's no phones, drones, or automobiles, or, you know, and no AI, obviously, clearly. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe they played Dig Dug, right? Like, maybe Chat GPT was playing Dig Dug and was like, I understand what I got to do now.
Yeah, maybe the dragon that was chasing you in Dig Dug is a metaphor for AI. And the little goobers that walk around in the holes in the ground and eventually turn into ghosts and chase you. Maybe those are like metaphors for Google and Bing and some other.
We got to find the people that made this game because they were obviously thinking of the future. So
clearly, Dig Dug is high tech. I can't wait till they make a Dig Dug live action. That'll be hilarious. Horrifying. Horrifying. I started to say hilarious. Horrifying.
So what? Okay, that continuing down that thread. So you got the facial recognition stuff, just the personal data, right? That's being mined, that's being traded, sold, all of that. And I mean, also, the government's making sure we're good boys and girls with certain regards to all of that. And then advertisers, they got to make sure they got their proper demographics for their ads. Whatever side of the fence
let's take
you follow on there.
I want to take a minute to talk specifically about social media.
I thought he was going to say Spotify, how they fuck on us.
Fuck Spotify. Fuck these guys. Also, please, Spotify, I didn't mean it.
But I absolutely mean it. I mean it 200%. Go ahead.
Social media is ubiquitous of social media, and it's social media. Like, there was recently a big congressional push to ban TikTok, and let's get TikTok.
Is TikTok on the Wi-Fi? What is Wi-Fi?
No, I saw that video and that. Okay, you have no clue how things work. This is why 90-year-old people should not
term limits
legislate new technology. So
they're like, oh, these guys are liberal now. Like, they've listened to our podcast for an hour and they're like, okay, we're out of here. So you, see you on your way out. Goodbye. Anyways, continue.
Bye, bitch.
That's it.
Social media can be very dangerous, and we've seen the effects with this information. So I'm going to leave that aside. I'm just going to talk about data collection right now. TikTok, there was a big push. TikTok to collecting data from.
Yeah.
Okay. Facebook is doing the same thing.
The internet in general.
MySpace is doing the same thing. MySpace is still collecting data on everybody in 1998.
I mean, fucking, you go to a website today and it's like, do you accept these cookies? And who clicks no? Because that
I do.
Do you? I'm afraid it.
Yes, I do. And what? You know what? I still go to the website.
I'm afraid it will let me not use it. So I'm just like, if you want to know where I am,
I worried about that, but I clicked no, and it still let me go to the website. Wow. I fully believe that it still collects the cookies even when I say no. I just accept that it's lying.
We're on the same side of the fence, but like a mile down the road, being like, I can't believe you're on the other side of the fence.
Right.
So, but yeah.
But these things are all collecting. Yeah. And here's the number one thing. If it wasn't collecting this information on us, it would probably cost us money to use Facebook. It would cost us money to use Twitter or Threads or X or whatever.
That's been a thing on every social media app for 20 years. Like, if you don't share this, they're going to make us start having to pay to use this. It's like, are you kidding me? You can't be serious because they're making so much money off of you already.
I would pay some amount. I don't know what amount, like $1 a month for Facebook, if I would just quit seeing people put this shit on Facebook about I do not give Facebook permission to use my images. I do not give Facebook permission to charge me. You are the dumbest motherfuckers in the world, and none of that shit is coming true. Facebook is absolutely content to collect your information and sell it to the Chinese.
You
where
literally
it belongs.
uploaded it to their servers. What do you want for nothing? Like, You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
I saw a thing about email several years ago, like how to stop spam email in one simple step. And you know that one simple
don't
step
have email.
was charge for
Oh.
email. That was it. It was charge for email. And it was, they said they estimated that even if you did a charge as low as 1% of a penny per email sent, and you charge the sender of the email, it would eliminate spam.
It really would. I mean, like how much junk mail, like physical mail, do you get this day and age? Personally,
Yeah.
because
That you don't even
I
ask for
get
most of
almost
it.
nothing at this point. Here and there, I'll get something, but like, I mean, there's not that much physical junk mail I get. Obviously, you get the bullshit political thing here and there, but uh, other than that, I ain't getting that much because it costs money to send
I
that
will
shit out.
admit, I will.
I ain't saying it ain't zero.
I don't get as much as it used to because email actually does a fairly good job of
Yeah, I agree.
of filtering, especially if you actually use the filter process and like tell it what's junk and what's not. So it really does help. So I will say that, you know, kudos to Google. Google is probably the Antichrist. So
You know, honestly, if the Antichrist showed up and was like, "Hey, healthcare, hey, fucking, you don't have to hate being alive," I'd be like, "I'm listening." But that's a whole nother episode, Lord. But we have talked tonight. We have talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Dave,
I have one more area I really want to talk about. If you don't have,
I also have one more area.
All right,
But I think mine needs to come
with...
last. Not to be a prima donna,
okay.
But if
sure, asshole. You said my idea sucks, but that's okay. We'll go with it.
No, I ain't saying it sucks. I'm just trying. Give me yours. If it's not, I'll re-edit this episode in such a manner that it will never have been a conversation.
I've been told that before, and I think you're a liar. But that's okay. I'm going to move on. My last idea is dangerous tech, and I'm going to combine actually here two.
We may be coming down a similar street
because I said smart prosthesis. So to me, that includes, you know, artificial limbs.
Okay. Yeah.
Spinal cord stimulation, exosuit type stuff, brain link to the web or to computers, and I'm going to combine that with CRISPR as well, which is totally not prosthetics. It's just gene editing, but I'm going to combine them together because of one simple thing. These things are so dangerous because as they get better, like there was a whole big row in like 92, 94, 90, no, it was after that. 2000, 2005, somewhere in that 5-year span, where Tiger Woods had, he was dominating people.
Right.
Like if you placed a bet on a golf game, you had two choices. Either you took Tiger Woods or you took everyone else. And it was even money because Tiger Woods had about a 50% chance of winning every fucking major. You know, so he was dominating. And then he had eye surgery. Well, Chris, if you were going to have vision correction surgery, like what do you think your vision would have been to start with, and what would your vision be? What would your goal of that vision correction surgery
be? I would say that my vision would start off as bad, and then would the initial end game would be good.
So most people think like if I get vision correction surgery, my goal is to end up with 20/20. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, 20/20 vision, that's perfect." 20/20 vision is not perfect, 20/20 vision is average. When you correct to 20/20, or when you have 20/20 vision, what you're saying is, what most people can read at 20 feet, I can also read at 20 feet. So that's just average vision. Tiger Woods started with 20/20 vision, and he had vision correction surgery to give himself better than 20/20 vision.
And then he's not won a major since.
What I'm talking about. I mean, he won several majors after
Play
that.
into the joke.
He did not start winning. He did not stop winning majors until he was cheating on his wife, got high on pills and alcohol, wrecked his car, and injured his back. Let's be honest, that's where his downslide.
Back injuries are the worst.
From. And he's still the most dominant golfer of the 21st.
He's the only golfer's name I know, except the who's the tea and lemonade guy? Palmer.
Oh, yeah, Arnold Palmer.
That's it for me. No, Fuzzy Zeller, because he has a road.
Okay. Yeah, he has a whole golf course here in Indiana, and Fuzzy Zeller, a side note, is most famous because when Tiger won his first the Masters at Augusta, they have a couple of traditions, and one is that when you win the Masters at Augusta, you're welcomed into this elite group of people who have won the Masters. You get a green jacket to wear, and you're expected to wear that at every Masters ceremony. And if you win the Masters, you get to pick the dinner that all of the people in this club of people who have won the Masters eat on the eve before the Masters tournament next year. So whoever's the current champion gets to pick the dinner. And so when Tiger Woods won the Masters, Fuzzy Zeller said on TV,
I remember this.
Looks like it will be fried chicken and watermelon next year.
I thought you said something about collard greens.
That it couldn't have been any worse than what he said.
Yeah.
Same lines.
Same. Wow. Yeah. What were we talking about? Robots or something?
So Tiger Woods fixed his vision to better than average. And if you got the money with smart prosthesis as they get better, with CRISPR gene editing, you can custom make your kids. Like, I want my kid to have such and such genetic traits. I can make me. I want to edit my genes now so that I am, metabolize fat better than the average person. Like, we could very quickly end up with a tiered system where the rich get better than human lifespans and better than average human like physical characteristics. And we could very well go from like Homo sapiens outlasted all other pseudo-human species to back to a situation where we have this split, this divergent evolution because of this crazy shit.
I mean, I'm not too worried about that, mainly because the geek guys, right? Like the nerdy guys that's going to keep this system up. Like, yeah, they can make themselves also look handsome and beautiful and whatever, but at a certain point, like, that just doesn't keep up. So we get to a point where the ugly just becomes in vogue. Plus, also, everybody wants to rebel, right? I feel like that is a big human thing. At least for me, I'm like, fuck that shit. I don't like that shit no more. Like, it's in part of humans, rebelling is a key thing. So even if it was to become this beautiful race of people, be like, I'm gonna find the ugliest person and I'm gonna love the shit out of them. Because that's why I rebel.
That is human nature more than anything. Like, go against what you're told.
Yeah. It really is, and I wish I kind of wish I'd have wrote some notes on that. But to end this, Dave, and I was right. I was right. I feel like my idea needed to be the last one. Are we living in a simulation? I want that to be the last kind of conversation we have.
Okay.
So, I mean, some believe, the fact that we haven't met an alien life form, maybe, or haven't traveled these vast distances in space is simply because of limitations in our simulation, like a video game, which is a great way to think about it, right? Like you have these invisible walls presented to us, like a video game. Like you can't go beyond this because literally the memory does not go beyond this. And the processing power, right? Like it can't. Um, so as we progress as people and as a society and as we learn things and like, oh, with this new probe, with this new telescope, we can look out to the when the universe first began, looking at this, and it's like, what? Is that catching up to the simulation? Is that a different limit? Are we living in a simulation? That is my question to you, Dave. Answer, please, now.
I don't know. How's that for an answer? We'll just stop
That's
there.
fair.
I don't know.
That is fair. That could be its own episode.
I
but
know. I've read opinions from some very smart people, and I am not crazy enough or foolish enough to think that I am an expert at anything. But especially at this is not something I'm an expert for. But I've read the opinion of some very smart people who seem to place the odds at pretty well 50-50. It's pretty well.
I feel like 50-50.
We might live in a simulation.
I feel like
or we might not.
50-50 is the lamest of all odds. Because that's not
sure,
even
sure.
that's not even a guess, right? To me, like that's just like I shouldn't have even asked you the question. Is what you're telling me when you say it's 50-50. Like Dave, if I'm like, dude, tomorrow, what's the odds we're going to watch David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy? You're like, it's 50-50. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's not 50-50.
But I agree that it is
a cop out. Yeah.
It is. I agree with that, but it's also telling. Now, if I had to guess, my guess would be much less than that.
To which way?
For like not a simulation. Yeah, to not a simulation. Although Stella and I got Mandela affected, and I don't think I ever told you about this. A house that we drive past every single day, suddenly one day was blue instead of like whatever color it was. And we were both like, was that house went blue this morning, was it? And we both agreed that no, it was not blue this morning. But we also couldn't tell you what color it was previous. And so I feel like we got Mandela.
Now, were you Mandela affected, or did the simulation shift? And
well, I mean, isn't that what the Mandela effect is?
To me, the Mandela effect is different timelines converging. So I don't know if simulation applies there.
To me, the Mandela effect is we don't know what is going on. It could be multiple timelines. It could be that a glitch in the matrix, a glitch in the simulation.
Right. What do you personally? Because I mean, I talk to you. I remember being in fucking middle school, and somebody was like, "How do I know you're real?" Because I know I'm real. I'm like, I'm fucking real. What are you fucking talking about? And ever since then, that has kind of weirdly stuck with me. is like, you're living in my reality. I'm like, what the? I have not smoked weed. I have since then, but that still doesn't make me.
Was this person having main character syndrome?
Apparently, at 12 years old. But that same kind of thing sticks around. Like, I don't think I'm part of your reality, Dave, but I don't think you're part of mine. I think we're part of a reality, and we converge to make Horror House. Obviously, we are family beyond that, but still, there is some. I don't think it's a simulation of us doing this. Like, or is it a simulate? Am I part of your simulation making Horror House right now, and then I don't exist in the in between? Like, what does that mean? What the fuck is like? I wish we were a weed podcast instead of having some alcoholic beverages, because we would go down an avenue right now that I don't know that I could handle. You know, and I as you should maybe sometimes in life you got to contemplate these things, because you're like, what is living?
These are, I thought
it is a very 420 thoughts.
Without the 420.
Yeah. I really wish that I had the 420 to make them make sense to me, because they don't make sense to me. More than anything we've talked about tonight, this is the area that I'm just like, to get into deep conversation on makes no sense to me, one way or the other, because how can it? But how could it have? I don't know what that fucking means of what I just said.
I may have had one shot too many, because I don't know.
I don't know what I just fucking said either. But I think there are. I mean, do you think there even? What do you think about the hard limits on humans as a simulation or not? Do you think there are these limits on us that, like, we can't reach past this until X? Like, either our intelligence catches up to it or something.
I don't know that it is this. So this is purely opinion. Moving purely.
This whole episode has been opinion. What are you talking about?
Sure. It's not that I don't think we can move forward with AI and with these things at this point. It's that I don't think we should.
Okay.
Until we reach a certain level of humanity. I'm just going to say humanity. I'm going to use that as a generic. Right. Like, we treat each other so badly based on purely invisible lines. I'm going to, without getting too political, I really hope this is not too political, but this is
Dave, I think I have ruined our political standing. Because I think okay. A couple beers in, a few episodes, I have went a little bit off. Just saying, speak your truth.
I don't think major.
Enough,
I don't think
enough for some people to cancel. And I'm fine being canceled. Sure. Fuck you. Continue, my brother.
If I had to illegally cross one of these invisible borders on the ground, if I had to illegally cross into Ohio,
right,
and that was what I felt was my best option for taking care of my family, I would absolutely do it. Because I do believe at the end of the day that all these borders are artificial. And you know, if you are a Christian, I don't see how you don't agree with that. Like, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ, but I want my brothers to drown in the Rio Grande River in a net of barbed wire that
I
I put
failed
up
to
to keep them
mention
from
that
coming to
my
my country
Christ
because I'm
is
afraid. Because I'm afraid they might get fucking food stamps and a driver's
my
license.
Christ is a very blue-eyed, pale-skinned, very light brunette of a man. As you know, the
My Christ has a white beard and white pants, blue skin.
I'm there for that. Fuck,
I don't even know what that means.
La 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 la. Like, fucking sign me up. There's actually good music on that side. Sign me up. Fuck that shit.
The devil is Gargamel. So the whole Bible is just somebody in ancient times traveled to the future and watched an episode of the Smurfs and wrote it down and left out the blue skin. The Bible is.
If they had included the blue skin, that would have made a whole nother.
That would have been a James Cameron.
Oh my god! Just for James Cameron, the book says. Yeah. All right, Dave. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Typically, when we do an IRL kind of horror episode, we kind of give our probability, but I mean, we've kind of ran the gamut tonight. Which is what I was really after. I wanted to go through a whole bunch of stuff. So it's hard to say, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, on the probability that you think of it. So I think in lieu of that, maybe. I mean, if you still want to give some kind of 1 to 10, I ain't against it. But give me your final thoughts on this whole dangerous tech, AI. Like, what are your thoughts, your beliefs? I mean, how you feel on the whole thing? Speak your truth, forever, ever, amen. So rest the blue Smurf people.
So I absolutely believe that technology can be very dangerous, and I think that it almost is I won't even say 1-to-1. I mean, it's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I think in general, most of these things are good. The internet is a wonderful invention and giving us the totality of human knowledge basically at our fingertips, but being able to access it so readily. There are lots of studies that show our brains are suffering because we don't have to remember everything, and it makes everyone an expert, quote unquote, and it really gives the appearance that all opinions are equally weighted, and they're not. There are experts for a reason. If I have 2 people giving me medical advice, and one is, you know, a UPS driver, and no shade on UPS drivers. I love the guy that brings me my shit. I'm still waiting for my fucking gutter garbs, motherfucker. But one is a UPS driver, and one is a oncologist at Johns Hopkins University. Who am I going to trust to interpret the, you know, microbiology results of the polyps they removed from my butthole during my colonoscopy?
Right.
It's not the UPS guy. There are experts. There are experts for a fucking reason. So I think the internet is the most wonderful human invention, and also the most
fair.
There you go.
I think I'm pretty much in line with you. I'm going a slightly. I'm like a street opposite you, but still like the same kind of neighborhood. What I think is I'm still optimistic or I mean, as a person, generally, I'm optimistic. And I believe that there are good in people as a whole, and I think in the world as a whole. And I want to believe the same thing with AI and technology and things like that. And um, the possibilities can be horrifying in certain ways, like we've talked about tonight. And you know, everything that's new, uh, or everything that is new that could have such an effect on the population as a whole on the earth is kind of frightening sometimes when it's this new thing like, oh, there's face recognition now. But I don't think it's something to fear. And really, if it is something to fear, like we talked about briefly, if it is something to fear, it's probably already too late to worry about it. And I love that is, I think, the most horrific idea tonight. And I love that for it. It's like, if any of this actually is a problem for humanity, it's already too late. And what's more horrific
Sure.
than that? Than you've already not acted. You've already waited too long.
Yeah, that's very
It is.
Lovecraftian.
It
Very
is.
Lovecraftian there. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter what we do. Too late. We don't even
Yes.
matter. Like, we're getting ready to destroy ourselves, or the things we have invented are getting ready to destroy us. And at the end of the day, that's it.
Yeah. And in a weird kind of a poetic way, it's not a bad way to live your life. Like, what you do matters to you in the moment, so live that moment, I say. That may be bad advice. Don't incriminate me, please. I don't want to be an accessory. But hell, the AI overlord, if that is what it is. This became a heady episode for the horror house, and I'm there for it. We got to figure out a new thing to do for the next season. This was a whole different kind of a trip. We've talked about like 17 different topics, all kind of the same avenue. This was an episode, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So deep thoughts. Still a few laughs.
That's what we do. We're the goofy hands of the AI that is being applied to you. Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners. Dave, if the people want to let the AI know where they can reach the AI, where can they do that?
If you are an AI or have been affected by an AI, or an AI touched you in a sexual manner you didn't like, please send us a direct message or just tag us in a tweet at Sweetness, one with 6 E's, or at Horror House 2, because there are
you
two
can
of us.
Email us horrorhousepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to the Horror House page on Facebook.
You can hit us up on Slasher, the social media network for horror fans. I'm Horror House Dave. Chris is at Horror House.
That's me.
Yes.
And finally, there's usually something I say here. Listen to us on iTunes and Spotify. That still don't feel quite. Breathe on us. Breathe on us? What? Spit on Dave. Rate us. Rate us.
So hot. That feels good.
We took the long way around, but rate us.
So nice.
You're making it more weird, maybe for me than them, but maybe all of us. Rate us. Throw your phone at your friend, which I can't believe that's a.
Does it make you feel dirty?
No, because I'm pretty clean. I'm a pretty clean boy. Yeah.
Oh.
Let us know anything you would want us to do in the future. We are prepping season 6, boys and girls. So let us know what you want to hear, and we'll work towards that. Throw your phone at your friend, rate us, share us. Peace be with you.
Yeah, don't hold it to yourself. Share the love. Let's build this community. Tell us what you want to see, what you like, what you don't like. We're open, man. We're open. And trust us. If you say, like, you tell us something you want that we don't want to do, it's okay. You're not imposing your will on us, because I'm just going to say, fuck you. No, we don't want to do that. But I actually do want to know what you want, because maybe
we do need to get Dave a new chair for season 6.
It is a squeaky motherfucker. So, maybe we should do a crowdfunding.
We will figure it out by season 6. But we still got a couple months. But until then, thank you for listening. We will talk to you next time. Dave, should we give them any hints for what's coming next, or should we just meet them there?
No, I do think we should give them a hint. It's something. It's this season has been a very sci-fi horror season. Chris.
Absolutely.
And this is something we have talked about. I can't believe we haven't done yet. You said that in pre-show. We can't believe we haven't done this yet, because we're both such a big fan of this movie. It is a cult classic sci-fi horror movie, and that's almost you.
I can't wait. Most of that, honestly, dude, most of the episodes this season, I am to the point where I can't wait to talk about them every week. I'm like, oh, that's going to be such a good one. I can't wait to talk about it. This is another one.
Yeah, I bet. Yep.
So, I guess until then, man, we will talk to you guys next week. Same cemetery, different grave. Goodbye. See ya. We'll talk to you later. Throw your phone at your dad's.
And stepdads. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Fair.
Bye.